Kia ora koutou and welcome. My name is Kate Kevill and I'm the Psychosocial Team Lead for New Zealand Red Cross. I'm also a psychosocial delegate where I have worked in the Pacific providing psychosocial training as well as psychosocial support, particularly in Samoa around the measles epidemic. This webinar on psychological first aid has been adapted from our 7-hour course and relates to COVID-19 specifically. So COVID-19, it has and is and will continue to change our lives. Most New Zealanders are facing uncertainty. Our plans are disruptive. We don't know what's going to be happening in the next 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 months. It's a really uncertain time. And so over the progressive weeks and months, our friends and our families and our networks and colleagues may start or continue to be sharing their concerns and their worries. And this is perfectly normal. And so what we're hoping is that this 1-hour webinar will provide you with a little bit of information and will be a valuable tool to help you support those around you. So this is what we're going to cover today. So we're going to look at what PFA actually is. So we're really getting a basic understanding of the background to PFA and being really clear what it's not. I'm going to be talking about the 5 elements. These are evidence-informed tools which will help us, and we've got specific examples around COVID-19. I'm going to look at distress responses. There's a lot, and we are all able to show distress responses in polarizingly different ways, and it doesn't mean that we're more or less distressed than each other. We're going to look at that later. I'm going to use the action principles for PFA of look, listen, and link. And we're going to focus a lot around the active listening and look at those skills. And I'm going to briefly touch on the importance of our well-being, particularly during this time, but in any time where it's a distressing or stressful event. I want to just remind you that there is also a New Zealand Red Cross 1-hour webinar on stress and well-being. That is something that you might be interested in. So PFA, psychological first aid, what is that? So it is a form of psychosocial support, and that psychosocial support is an interrelation of people's thoughts and behaviours and social factors. And I see this as a bubble, or even an umbrella-shaped bubble with little bits along the bottom. And if you think about that umbrella as psychosocial support, PFA is one aspect of that. And we've got a definition here. There are many different definitions of PFA. This is one we're using from the International Federation of the Red Cross, saying PFA is a method of helping people in distress so they feel calm and supported in coping with their challenges. A really simple definition, and it's not telling you within the context of which into what's causing distress. And that's not irrelevant, but it doesn't matter when providing PFA. What we're going to do in providing PFA is help people in distress. And have a look on this next slide. This is a really simple way of looking at it. In a nutshell, PFA is emotional and practical support. And what we want to do, our aim in providing that emotional and practical support is to reduce a person's distress. That's it. Really simple. And what we're also hoping to do is foster their ability to adapt, cope, and recover from whatever they're needing to recover or adapt from. It's not doing it for them. It's not fixing it. It's helping them make the decisions, plan the pathways of what they need to do to help them through the event or the situation that they're in. So now we know what PFA is, I want to be really clear what it's not. It's not something everyone will need. We're not going to shove it down their throats. It's really important that if someone wants to talk to us, wants to tell us their story, that we will certainly be there and we will listen and provide that support. It's not something only professionals can do, nor is it counselling, diagnosing, labelling, because those are things that we are not trained to do. And finally, it is absolutely not pressing people for details, forcing them to tell their story. Oh, tell me all the juicy gossips, tell me everything that's been going on, because that could potentially re-traumatize them. Now, if, of course, they want to tell you and they feel they need to tell you all that information, we will listen, but we're not going to force them and get all those details around there. So now hopefully you've got a little bit of a clarity and understanding about what it is and what it's not. So therefore, who is it for? Well, the definition a couple of slides ago said that it's providing emotional and practical support to reduce a person's distress. So clearly it's for people who are distressed, whatever the age, wherever they're from, but it's not for everybody, and not everyone will need it or automatically need it, but it is for anybody who does. Because people do react differently in different circumstances. We're going to talk about all those differences later on in the webinar. So this triangle here is a description or a visual of the levels of support that people might access or need during or after an event. Now, if you think down here, look down here at that bottom level there, basic security and services. If you think about a natural disaster, that's where we're talking about, have we got shelter, have we got water, have we got food, maybe emergency provisions. In this COVID-19, they're not really that different. Food is still a priority for everyone. Information is a priority, getting the accurate information that we need, security from the government, having a calm approach, giving us information and making the decisions that need to happen. Then you've got the community and family supports at that one level up. I'm just trying to find a pen, but I haven't got one here. And how I describe this is if you're my finger at the moment today, here you are, you're needing, something's happened in your life, something's happening globally or within New Zealand, and you're wanting some support to help you through that. And it's like, who do you go to? Who wraps around you to provide that support for you? We want you to continue to find and to access those levels of support and your community and family. It does look different now. We can't just pop down the road to see them, to get a hug, to get that support. But it's encouraging to think of a different way of getting there, whether it's on the phone at the moment, through the computers and the apps and everything else, because it is different. But the fact remains that it's really vital that we continue to get that support with whoever we need to. The next level up, focus non-specialised support. So that's sort of looking a little bit further afield if the people that they want that level of support. For example, that could be the 1737 helpline and other maybe local services that are in the area. And that top level, specialised services. Now that's where the psychologists and the psychologists, all right? So that's trained medical practitioners. So if you think about where does PFA sit in any of this, PFA can sit in the bottom three levels: the basic services and security, community and family support, focused non-specialised support, because we're not specialists, we're not trained medical practitioners.